Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
And we are back. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody that is listening wherever you are around the world. Thank you for joining 12th Man. We are back this morning with the Transfer Morning Show. Please do me a favor and hit the like button. Please make sure that you've hit subscribe already. And please make sure that you show Manscaped some love. Use the code FTM20 for 20% off of the Beard Hedger. It is the last couple of days for that. So please make sure that you are, of course, getting involved and showing them some love. I hope you all had a fantastic bank holiday. Apologies that I didn't do a show yesterday. I did do a show in the evening. Please make sure you go check it out. The Race for Europe show was back and it was lit. It was a heated panel. It was a huge debate on all things Premier League. And please make sure that you do go and check that one out. It will be back this evening with Arsenal Roundabout, with a fantastic bunch of Arsenal influencers that you will know from across the globe. So please make sure that you do join us at 9 p.m. this evening. That's for all talk on Arsenal. We will be talking Arsenal today. We will be talking Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool and Newcastle and Manchester City. And of course, we will end, as we always do, with Arsenal with some other rumours of who we may get out and in. There is only a few days left of this transfer window. And I, for one, cannot wait for it to be shut. It has been the longest window ever, probably because Arsenal haven't done much. Yes, it's taken us 9 weeks almost to do one thing, and that is bring in a defender. Come on, Edu. Come on, Arteta. Sort it out. There's a lot to do in a few days and not a lot of time to do it in. That's on Arsenal. Big up to everybody that's here in the chat, that's in the chat room live, that's watching on catch up, and of course that is watching live that are not in the chat room. But hello to the chat room. Big up and morning to Sergio, Alex from Forder on Football, Emerson, Brad, Geordie Toon for Life, Dan, Steve, look at me, I'm the pilot now. That is a fantastic name. Good morning to Elwood, Noel. Good morning to Tammy. I hope you're well. Good morning to Simon, Noel, AFC, Fizzy, Slims, Helsinki. X marks the spot. What a fantastic name that is as well. Malcolm. Always like good random names on here. It does make me laugh. Malcolm, Andrew, Jay. Who else is there? Cello, Rashid, Guna, Dwayne and Kearton. And you know what? Everyone else that I've missed and everyone else that's watching live, I do appreciate you joining me this early. So we're going to get into it. It feels like I've been trying to catch up for the last 48 hours because obviously I haven't done a show over the weekend, but also didn't do one Monday, which I usually do. So we're trying to catch up today. So there's a lot to get through. So let's get through it. We're going to start with Chelsea because they look like they are favourites to bring in Osimhen. Now, there are rumours and reports suggesting that Saudi are massively interested. They can afford, of course, his wages and they're willing to pay Napoli a large chunk of the fee that they're after for him. However, he has got his heart set on a move that is not Saudi. I think he wants Champions League football, but I also believe that he would be interested in a move to England. Now, of course, Chelsea are not playing in the Champions League. They're playing in the Conference League. But it looks like Chelsea are the only club that are in for him. Now, there were rumours that Arsenal were sniffing around him, but it does not look like those rumours have come to fruition. But at the moment, Arsenal don't have anybody that they are huge or strongly linked with. It looks like we obviously have some outs, but not much coming in. Now, Arsenal are playing their cards close to their chest, so maybe they could surprise and pounce on a move for Victor Osimhen, but it does look like Chelsea are favourites. Now, if you remember a couple of weeks ago now, PSG had actually agreed personal terms with Victor Osimhen, but they could not agree a fee with Napoli that they felt was reasonable. Now, Napoli would like as close to the release clause, which is just over 100 million euros. They would love somebody to come in and release the clause of him because they've agreed that Napoli can go. There's a gentleman's agreement that Victor Osimhen can leave Napoli. They've brought in Lukaku now from Chelsea. He's going to be their striker. It looks like Conte wants to Lukaku as the number one because they know him very, very well. So Osimhen, it doesn't look like there's a place for him. Now, I wouldn't rule out him actually staying at Napoli at this rate. I don't think there's a club that's going to say, here's 100 million euros euros. Here's 300k a week. Come to my club. And if it is Chelsea, you've got to question what they're doing FFP wise, because surely they can't afford that on top of what they've done already. They're not playing Champions League football. Arsenal, maybe they can afford that, but don't believe that he's worth that. Maybe they don't see that he's worth 350k a week or 100 million euros. What is going to happen with Victor Osimhen? Well, it does look like Chelsea are the place that he's probably going to end up. We're just not sure what and how those terms might work. So for me, Napoli looking to get rid of Osimhen, but where will he go? Now, I don't really believe anybody would turn down the chance of signing Victor Osimhen. When you look at his form the season before last, it was phenomenal. He was the sought-after striker. Everybody was talking about him like they are Alexander Isak now. Every Arsenal fan that I knew said, don't go and get Tony, go and get Osimhen. This summer, everyone seems to have gone off of him 12 months later. I'm not quite sure why that is. Perhaps they believe that he's just a flash in the pan. Perhaps they believe that his form has gone so downhill they don't want to touch him. But he's not old. He's in his 20s. He's not out of form. He didn't play badly last season. He scored some goals. It wasn't at the form previously, of course. But that was absolutely immense. He was scoring 35, 40 goals the season before. So you can't do that every single year unless you're Haaland. So for me, I still think it would be a good signing for whoever gets him. I think it would be weird to see him go over to Saudi. But I will say that there's definitely going to be interest outside of Saudi Arabia. They're definitely going to want him, though. That's for sure. We're going to stick with Chelsea and we're going to talk a little bit on Raheem Sterling because apparently he is one that Chelsea want to get rid of. And apparently Sterling, who's only 29 years old, would consider a move to Manchester United. It will not go ahead with a transfer until he has further discussed his contract with Chelsea. Now, Chelsea want him gone. But Chelsea are paying him £350,000 a week or something crazy like that. I don't think any team that wants Raheem Sterling is going to pay anything like that. Now, I'll tell you this now. If I'm a club that's interested in Raheem Sterling, I'm not paying Chelsea any money for him. I'm offering a loan. And I'm offering a loan and I'm offering him wages that has nowhere near the free, starts nowhere near free and starts with a 1. And I'm saying to Chelsea, I'm not giving you any money. You clearly don't want him. So why should I give you money for him? You've made it clear that he's available. So you aren't going to play him whatever. He's either going to sit and rot in your reserves or you can loan him to us. We'll keep him fresh for you for when you're ready to sell him. And if we want to be one of those clubs that wants him, we'll decide how much we pay you for him. But you're paying his wages. We'll give him 100k a week. You give him the rest. That's what I'd say to Chelsea. And those Chelsea fans that are like, yeah, let him go. We don't want him. He's been rubbish for us. Don't think that you're not getting away with this. If there's somebody coming in going, yeah, do you know what? We'll take Sterling. We'll give you £50 million and we'll pay him 400k a week. We'll take him off your hands. You're buzzing. No one's doing that. Manchester United are looking to try and get him in because they need a winger. They don't trust Anthony. Sancho's off to Juventus. They've got Rashford who's out of form and Garnacho who's not being favoured at the moment. They need a wide player. There is no way that I think any club should be paying Chelsea money for this deal because he has made it very, very clear he wants out. Chelsea have made it very clear they don't want him. So if there's anyone that wanted to pay his wages and give money to Chelsea for this is an absolute corrupt disgrace as far as I'm concerned. There's no way anyone should be paying money for Raheem Sterling. They should be getting him on loan. And then if that's a loan with an obligation of £25 million, cool. If it's a loan with a option, cool. But if you're going to go and say that, yeah, we want him and we don't want him anymore and this team wants him, Palace, Villa, Man United, but he's 45 million and you've got to put him on 300k a week, then they're getting a raw deal, mate. I'll tell you that now because he is not the player that he used to be. That's for sure. So that's Chelsea. What is happening with Chelsea and FFP, by the way? What is actually going on there? They keep finding all these loopholes and this amortization and all these names that keep getting thrown back at us. How are they doing it? They've got 50-odd players. They've spent £1 billion. I know they've done well with their player sales. I get it. But, boy, they've had to, haven't they? Selling hotels, buying players, selling players. It's all an absolute mess as far as I'm concerned. But, hey, they beat Wolves 6-2, so they're back and they're going to get Champions League football now, apparently, under Maresca. Go and do it then. Go and do it. Let's move to Liverpool, shall we? Because there's a couple of bits of news on Liverpool, actually. Obviously, the Georgian goalkeeper from Valencia, Mamardashvili, is looking like he is going to Liverpool. It looks as if he is being signed. His medical was in Spain yesterday. He finalises a 30 million move to Liverpool, but the 23-year-old will remain at Valencia and he will move to the Merseyside in the summer of 2025. Now, what does that mean for Alisson? That means for me, Alisson's got one more year at Liverpool because this guy's not coming in to sit on the bench at Liverpool. That's why he's being loaned back out to Valencia. Now, what's Alisson, 31? He is not old enough to be considering being replaced. Goalkeepers now, they go till 35, don't they? And Alisson is a world-class goalkeeper. For me, he's the best in the world. So there's no way that they should be replacing Alisson now. This does just look like the end of an era at Liverpool. It really does. And if Mamardashvili's coming in and he's being loaned back out for one more year, and there's rumours he's coming back the year after, Alisson's not going to be the number one if he's in there. He's not going to come and sit on the bench. So Alisson might be leaving after next season. Don't know where he's going, but he'll be 32 years old. You don't get rid of goalkeepers that are that world class at 32. You get rid of them at 35, 36. So rumours of what's happening with Trent, Salah potentially leaving, Van Dijk potentially leaving, Alisson potentially leaving. This really could be the last era of Liverpool players. Andrew Robertson, people are saying, is no longer the player he used to be. Who have they got left? Liverpool are kind of going back. If you look at the squad without them, they're kind of going back to the old Liverpool of a decade ago when they couldn't do much. So for me, big, important signing this one. I actually rate him. I think he's a good goalkeeper, Mamardashvili. I think he's somebody that a lot of clubs were looking at. I know that Arsenal were rumoured to be looking at him before we got Raya in. Newcastle looking to be interested in him. Of course, Manchester United got in on the mix, but it looks like he has chosen Liverpool and he'll be loaned back out to Valencia. Alisson, don't know what's happening there. That could be very interesting. But Liverpool look like they're interested in Chiesa. This deal looks like it could be getting done. Now, apparently, they have made an inquiry for Chiesa. They are looking at a left winger, and Chiesa fits the bill. Now, the problem with Chiesa is his injury problems. If he stays fit, Liverpool have got a baller because you saw him in the Euros. You saw what he could do. You saw when he's on form and when he's fit, he's firing. He's a great winger. He's got pace. He's got power. He knows where the goal is. He's creative. He can link up. He is a very, very good player. But his injury record is dire. So they're taking a risk here, Liverpool. They massively are. They've realised that although they wanted Anthony Gordon, he's going to be a hell of a lot of money. Newcastle aren't allowing him to leave. So Chiesa is a player that 100% could do some damage in the Premier League and could come to Liverpool and do very well on that left-hand side. But with Diaz scoring, if they can find his form, they might be okay on that left-hand side because they've got Nunes, they've got a couple of other options there, Cody Gakpo. But Chiesa with fit is better than them. The problem is if fit, and that is the big question mark. Can he stay fit? That is a problem. Sticking with Liverpool in terms of outgoings, it looked like Joe Gomez could be going out. Now, Newcastle have been linked, but obviously Mark Guehi, we'll touch on him next, is the player that they are after. But Crystal Palace, who look like, although Joachim Andersen has left and they're getting in Lacroix from Wolfsburg, it looks like they are now after Joe Gomez as well, who looks like he could come in to replace Mark Guehi, who looks now like he is set to leave Crystal Palace. Now, it's going to cost a lot of money. Newcastle bid 55, 60, 65. Well, now it looks like there is a deal that is going to be agreed for £70 million. Now, we all laughed when Everton asked Jared Branthwaite money of £70 million. Everyone said, what? No way. But it looks like Mark Guehi is going to cost that for Newcastle. Now, listen, I think this is a very good signing in terms of the player they're getting, the defender they're getting, the age they're getting him, how much he's improved in the last couple of years, what he's done at Palace, what he's done for club and country, how good he was in the Euros. But £70 million for a 23-year-old who's just got into the England side, what are we talking about here? I understand English tax, but my goodness, Ben White was a lot for 50 million 3 years ago. He's been phenomenal. Guehi will be phenomenal, I'm sure, but that's 70 million. Does that mean in 3 years' time, when the next centre-half comes through, he's going to be close to 100 million? Because that's how close it's going up here. This is mad. Absolutely mad, in my opinion. But listen, this is the way it's going at the moment. Newcastle very interested in Mark Guehi. I think he'd be a phenomenal signing, a great partner for Sven Botman when he is fit. Obviously, they've still got Fabian Schär. I think it'll be a really good signing. But guess what? Chelsea get 20% of the sale. Can you believe it? When they need more money, they just go, "I'll have more, please. Guehi, we owe some money." Unbelievable. £70 million. Crazy. So 20% of that, what we got, roughly £14 million for that, for just selling a player. It's absolutely mad. It really is. So there we go. A lot of money for Mark Guehi, but Newcastle want their man. It looks like they might get their man. Somebody else that Newcastle were linked with, and I don't get this one, is the Burnley goalkeeper, James Trafford. Now, they've already got their goalkeeping situation sorted, I thought. They got the guy from Forest. They've got Nick Pope back. They've obviously got Dubravka and other backup goalkeepers, but they're looking at James Trafford. I've never understood the obsession with this goalkeeper. He looks lightweight, weak, can't come for crosses. He looks so lightweight in goal. He looks about 15 years old. I do not understand the obsession with James Trafford at all. People say he's a good shot stopper. Well, let's be real. As Roy Keane would say, that is your job. If you're a goalkeeper and you're not a good shot stopper, what you're doing in goal. I do not understand it at all. I don't get the obsession with this goalkeeper. I don't think he's good enough. I think when you're being replaced by Muric, who we saw his performance for Ipswich at Man City, how poor he is. When you're being replaced with him, means you're not a very good goalkeeper. So I don't quite understand what Newcastle are doing looking at James Trafford, because he ain't better than Pope. Maybe he'll come in as backup and be happy with that, but I just don't think he's good enough and going to ever be a good enough number one for someone. So maybe he'll have to go down a level, in my opinion, if he wants to be a number one. Let's talk about some outgoings at Manchester City. João Cancelo is one that is looking like he is leaving. It looks as if Al Hilal are going to be agreeing a deal for Cancelo from Manchester City. Now, this was a player that I thought was absolutely phenomenal for Man City not long ago. Went to Barcelona, obviously fallen out with Pep. Plays right back and left back, can play full back, wing back. Very, very good player, comfortable on the ball. In his 30s now, I believe. But this looks like it's going to happen, and he is going to say goodbye to European football and hello to Saudi Arabia. It looks as if the Saudi Pro League club, Al Hilal, are going to get their guy, and it looks as if this one is pretty much a done deal. So he is out of Manchester City. Who else looks like they are on their way out of Manchester City? Matheus Nunes, he has not worked out. It looks like Atletico Madrid would like to sign Nunes. Now, he's a player that, let's be real, when he was at Wolves, a lot of people rated him. Pep Guardiola said he loved him, said it was a fantastic signing for Wolves, signed him for Manchester City to try to replace the likes of Gundogan that had left, and it just has not worked out for him. A lot of money as well, close to £50 million. I don't think this one has worked out at all. I do not rate the player. I do not look at him and go, wow, he's not a Manchester City player, that's for sure. He's not set the world alight. You have to do well to get into that Manchester City side. He got given chances, and each time didn't look up to the level and up to speed. Maybe he'll go and find a career path at Atletico Madrid. It looks like they're the favourites to get him, but I do not believe that this is a player that was ever going to make it under Pep. He's never been one I look at and think, wow, yeah, that's an absolutely fantastic signing for £50 million. I think he's about 30 million too much. He does not. That's just my opinion, though. So Manchester City getting rid of João Cancelo and Matheus. Well, there's rumours after Savinho that they brought in, and of course Gundogan, that they are going to be looking at a striker, and there is the Icelandic striker, Oskarsson, is it? That looks like he could be coming in for Julian Alvarez. But other than that, it doesn't look like Manchester City are looking at being linked with any other incomings. So Matheus Nunes is the one they're looking at getting rid of, and it looks as if now that one could be getting done with Atletico Madrid. Let's talk about Nottingham Forest, shall we? Because obviously they got their bid accepted by Arsenal for Eddie Nketiah, but Eddie Nketiah could not agree personal terms with the club. So it looks as if now Forest are going for other targets. Now, Santiago Gimenez, apparently the deal does not look like this one is going to get done. Now, the 23-year-old from Feyenoord, the Mexican striker Santiago Gimenez, the deal was collapsed after he rejected their offer. So again, Nottingham Forest getting bids accepted, but not wages accepted and personal terms. The Telegraph is suggesting that Gimenez to Forest will not be happening. Now, I thought this one was going to probably happen when I saw that Eddie was getting rejected. It looked to me as if they decided that if Eddie doesn't want to come, we're going to have to go and try and get somebody else. Now, they've already got Taiwo Awoniyi and Chris Wood. They're looking now to potentially upgrade on both of those and go in for another striker. But it does not look like, according to reports today, although it looked like he may have gone to Forest, it looks like the personal terms have collapsed. So therefore, it does not look like this one is going to happen. But they have turned their attention to another player that we all know very, very well, James Ward-Prowse. Forest are planning a move for him. He's 29 years old. He's not in the plans of Lopetegui at West Ham, apparently, even though he's fantastic at set pieces, corners, free kicks, the lot. He is not wanted by West Ham. Might have to listen to offers for Ward-Prowse, but are not actively looking to sell him. Now, it looks as if, although he's not in the plans for Lopetegui's first team, they might keep him as a squad player. But Forest have said that they are very interested. I've always been a fan of him, and I feel like even at Southampton, he always gave him a chance of scoring a goal because he was fantastic at free kicks, had a brilliant right foot on him. He's probably one of the best set-piece deliverers that I've seen in the Premier League since the likes of David Beckham. He's obviously up there at the moment with the likes of, let's say, Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, those that have a brilliant delivery. I honestly think he's that good. But unfortunately, there's not much else that he does deliver in that midfield. He's not a powerhouse. He's not got the athleticism and the box-to-box play of some of the other midfielders. And of course, he's a very, very steady player, but not one that I think takes you to the next level. And maybe West Ham have decided that they were grown out of a James Ward-Prowse at their club. But listen, I think he do a phenomenal job for some of the other Premier League clubs. I really do. Listen, there's over 500 people in here, people. In fact, there's 550 of you plus. Please make sure you do me a favor because we've only got to 100 likes. I need you to hit the like button and I need you to hit subscribe. We're getting very close to 30K. You guys are amazing. Absolutely phenomenal. You keep coming back every single day and night, hitting that like button and subscribe for me. And it really is helping the channel grow. The numbers are going absolutely insane and off the charts. So please make sure you do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. Do it now, people. If you do want to join as a member, like some of the guys in the chat, then you can click the join button and then it will take you through how you can pay a minimal fee every single month to support the channel. If you would like to do that, please click join now. But please, at the bare minimum, do what's free. And that's hit like, which is free, and hit subscribe, which is free. Please. It means the world. So thank you so much. Already we've got people listening. We've got over 25 of you who have already hit the like button as well. So please make sure that you hit that like button now because there's 400 of you that still haven't. So please, that's all I ask. Please hit the like button. Big up to all of you. Really appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit now about a player that Arsenal fans know very, 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 very well. It looks as if this guy could be on his way back to the Premier League. We are talking about the Ox. OxladeChamberlin is showing interest in a number of clubs. Now, Ajax are one of them, but actually Brentford are a club that are interested. Now, I don't know what it is about Brentford. Brentford always seem to have a chance of going for a big name. Remember when they got Christian Eriksen? Maybe they can go and get Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's just turned 31, so he's not in his late 30s. He's only just approached the 30 mark. Brentford have opened talks with Besiktas over bringing him back to England. It looks as if Turkish reports are suggesting Oxlade-Chamberlain is willing to come back to England, and he is definitely a player that can have a lot to offer. Experienced head now, has won everything in the game with Liverpool, had brilliant upbringing at Southampton, brilliant move to Arsenal. Never really worked out for him, quite got into the first team, but definitely helped them on their way to trophies under Klopp. But he's a player that everyone always loved. Whenever he played for your club, you always had a lot of time for him because he did light up the game when he played. He would be really good for a club like Brentford. And I just wonder if they would be interested in bringing him there. I think he'd be a good signing. I really do. And I want to see him back in England. I want to see him doing well. He's a player that I always thought had high hopes. I always thought he could do well. I didn't really see him having a position. I thought he played better on the right wing for Arsenal. He did well in an AC Milan game at home once where I think we come back in the end. I think we're 4-0 down from the first leg and we won 3-0 if everyone remembers that game. I think Koscielny, Van Persie and Oxlade-Chamberlain scored. And he was fantastic. Playing in the 10, he looked absolutely phenomenal. But he never really hit the heights at Arsenal and never really got to that next level. And of course, then decided to leave and go to Liverpool, where he did very well. So could Ox be on his way back to the Premier League? Of course, Brentford are the team that are very interested. So let's see what happens there. Okay, moving on to Arsenal then, shall we? It's a nice little segue from Ox to Arsenal. Eddie Nketiah. What's happening here? Well, we know that David Ornstein reported that the deal with Nottingham Forest collapsed. Yes, we got a bid accepted of around 30 million plus add-ons, but Eddie Nketiah decided that he didn't want to go to Nottingham Forest because the wages were not what he was after. Now, he'd agreed, if you remember, personal terms with Marseille, but Marseille couldn't agree the fee. And it looks like it's the complete opposite with Nottingham Forest. They could agree the fee, but not the personal terms. Well, now it looks as if Crystal Palace are going to get their man with a £25 million plus £5 million add-on. It looks like that's going to get accepted by Arsenal and that the personal terms are not going to be an issue. Now, he's on £100,000 a week. Does that mean Palace are going to have to pay him that? I'm not so sure. I think Nottingham Forest, rumours had it, were offering him around 75 and he wasn't willing to go down that low. So Crystal Palace know what they've got. They've got to go 80 to 100 to get Eddie Nketiah through the door, which I think is a madness. But that's what Arsenal have paid him. So, of course, that's what he wants. He's going to want that. Eddie Nketiah, let's be real, he will go to Palace and he will score goals. If Jordan Ayew can score goals at Palace, Eddie Nketiah can. It looks as if Mateta and Eddie are the two players that they are going to be wanting to keep. With Edouard linked with a move back to Celtic today, it looks as if he's the one that might move out of the door and pave the way for Eddie Nketiah, who I think will score goals at Crystal Palace. I'm sure that he will. Crystal Palace look to be keeping everybody now other than Mark Guehi. It looks as if they want João Gomez or Araujo from Benfica to replace Guehi. They've got their replacement in Lacroix from Wolfsburg for Joachim Andersen. So Palace really have kept their goalkeepers, their fullbacks, their midfield, and of course Eze, which is massively important. Adding Kamada, who looks like a very good, promising winger, and of course Eddie Nketiah. It looks as if they're going to only have the sales of both Anderson and Guehi, which I find very odd, and Elise. So yes, they've lost 3 of their better players, but they have kept 3 of their other better players. Of course, Eze, Wharton, and it looks like they're keeping hold of Mateta. Very interesting what's happening at Palace. What is Glasner going to do? They need to back him because he's been phenomenal for Crystal Palace. He really has. So, yeah, I feel like we need to look what is happening here in the chat. Why have we got idiots in the chat, man? What's going on? Get rid of these idiots. Okay. Yeah, that's what's happening with Eddie Nketiah. Palace is the team that look like they're going to get their guy. Nearly 600 of you in here. How many likes have we got? Let's take a look. We haven't hit 200 yet, people. Let's make sure we hit the like button. Let's get that up to 200 very, very soon. What's happening with Aaron Ramsdale? Well, at the moment, it looks as if Aaron Ramsdale will be going on loan to a Premier League club. Which Premier League club? I really don't know. There's interest from Bournemouth. There's interest from Wolves. There's interest from Southampton. Outside of the Premier League, Ajax have said they're interested. But every single one of those clubs are interested only in a loan with an option to buy. There is no clubs that are coming in with a loan with an obligation other than Southampton. And that loan with an obligation will only go through if Southampton stay in the Premier League. So basically, if you believe Southampton are interested, but you believe Southampton are going to be going down, it looks as if that basically is going to be a loan with an option. There's going to be no obligation for Southampton should they go down because they're not going to be able to sign him. So if there's an obligation of 25, 30 million pounds that Southampton want him, brilliant. But they've got to stay in the Premier League for that to go through. Ramsdale's going to end up going on loan with an option. I just can't see anything else. There's no other team that are interested at the moment in signing him. Now, it could be quite cheeky for a club to come in and say, do you know what? We're the only ones that will offer you an obligation. We'll give you 20 million at the end of the year. That isn't enough for me. That's an absolute steal for a goalkeeper who we bought for 25 million pounds 3 years ago that's had 2 title races and he's trying to get in the first team at Arsenal ahead of David Raya. For me, I think we need to be asking for 30 million pounds. So for me, I just don't see how Ramsdale goes for less than Eddie Nketiah or Emil Smith-Rowe because he's been playing first-team football. Last season was the only time he sat on the bench. So for me, yes, his value's gone down a little bit to what it was, but his value was never 25. His value was nearer 40 to 45 when he was title challenging with Arsenal. So that means it's gone down to around about the 30 mark, in my opinion. If someone wants to pay 30 million pounds for Aaron Ramsdale, they'll get him. But it does not look like now anybody is wanting to pay anywhere close to that. I would keep him. I know it sounds mad, but I would keep him. A lot of people say it's cruel, but I'm trying to win a title. I'm not trying to keep my backup goalkeeper really happy with, sitting on the bench by going, come on, smile. This guy's got a job to do, man. He play games. He'll play all the Carabao Cup games. He'll play all the FA Cup games. And I think he'll play some of the Champions League games should we get a couple of draws that look to be, against the Club Brugge or a Shakhtar Donetsk or somebody like that. So he'll definitely play games, and he's going to play if Raya gets injured. So we keep him. It looks like he's going to go somewhere on loan, and it looks like Juan Garcia, the Espanyol keeper, is the guy that we are looking at getting in to replace him. So Aaron Ramsdale may have played his last game for Arsenal. And it's a massive shame because the way that it's ended is quite sad. But I wish him all the best if he does go and leave Arsenal. But I don't want it to be on loan. I want it to be a permanent move or loan with an obligation. Someone who has done well with their medical, it seems, over this bank holiday weekend is Mikel Marino. I cannot believe this one has not been announced yet. This one has to get done very soon because we actually need him. In our midfield at the weekend, it looked very, very bare. We had Partey and Rice playing, Jorginho on the bench, and nothing else. There was Ethan Nwaneri is the only option at 17 to come in and bolster that midfield. That is not strong enough. So Mikel Marino is needed at Arsenal. Declan Rice will play the 6. Mikel Marino will play the 8, and Thomas Partey and Jorginho will be there to cover. That is needed. I was a massive fan of Thomas Partey at the weekend, but against Wolves in the second half, he definitely dropped off. He is not going to be fit for the whole of the season, guys. So we need to get Marino in the door. This is a player that just needs to come in at Arsenal now. I am certain it's going to happen. Excuse me. The move for him needs to happen now. Unfortunately, it does take a while at Arsenal, doesn't it? It seems like I've been putting that picture up for the best part of about 7 weeks. We've been linked with him since the Euros, which again finished ages ago. And it's a player that we all want to see in an Arsenal shirt because actually he is just what we need in the 8. And then Rice can go back into the 6 because I'm not so sure Rice has found his feet in the 8 in the last couple of games. He doesn't look 100% fit, which I'll give you 100%. He can play in the 8. We've seen him play there phenomenally. But I do believe personally he is a player that will come in the 8 and will take us to new levels. That is what I need to see. Calafiori and Marino on the left-hand side. Timber's still there as well. I absolutely guarantee it will flourish the game of Gabriel Martinelli. That is what we need to see. Trossard, who starts there at the moment, he's just so good. He doesn't need stuff around him. He just scores goals. He's just brilliant. But for me, Rice in the 6, Marino in the 8, Calafiori in the left-hand side or Timber, and then Trossard. That left-hand side, we need to get used to it, just like our right-hand side. And I think we'll do well then. A player, lastly, that has been linked today that I've never heard of is this guy. He is a right winger, Danish international, 24 years old, Andreas Skov Olsen. 25 to 30 million euros it would cost, playing at Club Brugge, 29 goals in 74 games. Previously over in Denmark, scored a goal every other game, 22 in 41 games. And Club Brugge have said that he is available. He's 6'2". He plays on the right of midfield and right wing, so he would be Saka cover. And he's around 25 to 30 million. That is coming loosely being linked from reports from some of the sources today, this morning, and last night. I don't know who this player is. I have absolutely no idea. I don't know enough about him, but he is a player that we are linked with. Now, are Arsenal going to go in for a big attacker and somebody like this on top? What's going to happen with Reiss Nelson? Is Reiss Nelson going to stay at Arsenal? Eddie Nketiah looks to be going. Smith Rowe has gone. Fabio Vieira on loan to Porto. That leaves Reiss Nelson and Kivior that are rumoured to leave, and Kieran Tierney. But let's just say this. Let's just say this. Kieran Tierney's going to stay at Arsenal till January because he's injured. It doesn't look like the injury is very good either. So I don't think he's passing any medicals anytime soon. So Kieran Tierney's going to stay at Arsenal. He probably won't be registered because he'll be injured, and he will leave and probably go back to Celtic or somewhere like that in January. But the other two at the moment are Kivior, who's rumoured to be reported to with links to Serie A, and Reiss Nelson, who's reported to be leaving potentially somewhere. We obviously saw that Leicester were coming in a few weeks ago. They've now called their interest in Reiss Nelson. It looks as if a loan with an obligation would be probably enough to get him out the door, but that obligation fee would have to be around 15 to 18 million for us to do a deal. Arsenal wanting 20 to 25 for me is a little bit steep, but I think that if we got 15 to 18 million, I think we should just let him go. It looks like this is the guy potentially, Andreas Olsen, who can come in from Club Brugge and replace Reiss Nelson, and then we go for the big attacker, which I think needs to be a striker. That's what I think. That could be happening, but it's only very loosely linked. So do not get your heart set on any of these players being linked, because we have been linked with pretty much everybody. In fact, let's go through it quickly. We've been linked with Osimhen. We've been linked with Gyökeres. We've been linked with Tony. We've been linked with Isak. We've been linked with Boniface. We've been linked on the wing with Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry, and Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich. We've been linked with Bakayoko. We've been linked with Adingra from Brighton. We've been linked with who else have we been linked with? There's somebody else we've been linked with that I've missed there. That's massive. We've been linked with so many wingers. Eze, that's the one I've been missing. Pedro Neto was linked with us. Nico Williams was linked with us. Wow. Are we going to get any of these? Because at the moment we've got a few days left, and that's it. We need to go and get a winger and a striker. We need two. Personally, Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah are the two that need to be upgraded on. If Ødegaard gets injured, we've only got Ethan Nwaneri, but Kai Havertz can play in that attacking 10. Up top, if Kai Havertz is playing in that attacking 10, we don't have a striker at the moment. If Saka gets a knock, it has to be Nelson, who apparently is wanting to be sold. We're incredibly short, guys. We need two players at least that are coming in, and we've only got a few days to do it in. Are Arsenal going to get this done? There's only a few days left. There's a few players wanting out, and there's quite a lot of business, when you think about it, that needs to get done. Now, when it takes us 9 weeks to bring in a defender, it doesn't fill me with confidence to get 3 players sold and 3 players in. So in that time, Vieira, who's gone on loan to Porto, Smith Rowe, who's gone on loan, Nelson, who's apparently leaving, Eddie, who's apparently leaving, Tierney, who's apparently leaving, Ramsdale, who's apparently leaving, and then we're looking to get a winger and a striker in. All of that's got to get done in 4 days. This is lastminute.com. So I hope that Edu and Arteta have something up their sleeve. We're going to have to keep our powder dry, chill, relax, and understand the window has a few days left. And once that window shuts, that window better look good, man. That window better look an 8 or 9 out of 10. At the moment, it's about 3. Bringing in 1 left back. Spending no money. Mikel Marino not even announced yet, with 3 days left. It's a poor window. In fact, it's probably the worst window we've had. Definitely in the regime of Arteta and Edu, but probably up there one of the worst that we've had at Arsenal since we signed 1 goalkeeper in Petr Cech that season. That was the worst window we've ever had. How did we not sign an outfield player that season? That was a season we should have won the league, by the way, when Leicester won the league. That was that year. Absolutely crazy. There we go. Someone's just read my mind. Mr. Robbo TV, big up. Says it's the worst window since the Czech days. Absolutely facts. Listen, that could change in the coming days. It has to. It absolutely has to. If Arsenal want this title, they need to do more than Marino and Calafiori. That's for sure. So let's see what happens there. Just lastly, bringing in this super chat by Matthew. Big up to yourself, my bro. Thank you for the super chat. Says, would you be happy if we just signed Calafiori, Marino, and Gyökeres? I would, even though a backup winger would be great. Excuse me. I'll be happier, but I still feel we're short. But I will say this. If we get Gyökeres and Jesus is fit enough, he can cover for Saka. So, yeah, I still feel we're potentially short in the attacking midfield and right wing position, but I still feel that it's a better window than it is right now. Calafiori and Marino isn't even announced yet. Gyökeres isn't being linked. So I feel we've got something else off our sleeve. Maybe there's a madness. Maybe we go and get Isak in the last couple of days. Maybe we go and buy Kvaratskhelia from Napoli. Maybe we go and do an absolute madness. I don't know. But big up for your super chat, Matt. I do appreciate it. We're going to leave it there, guys. Absolute legends, as always. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Are we up to 200 yet? We're only just over it. Let's get up to 250 likes, please, people. There's well over 630 of you that are listening still. In fact, there's 650 of you nearly. So please make sure you do me a favor and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe. I can't stress that enough. I never like to nag. I never like to keep going on about it. But I didn't realise until I got into this game how important those two buttons are. So please, if you do like the content and you do enjoy watching me, then please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. They're two buttons that are free. Please do it now or before you leave the stream. We'll see you next time. I'll be back later on this evening when I'm talking to the Arsenal lads about Arsenal's transfer window and, of course, the Brighton game. Big up to every single one of you. Please make sure you hit the like and subscribe as you leave, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy, people.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.